This is Mr. Tuxedo, and in today's video I will be constructing a house for him. Like most of my projects, I always start out with a basic sketch of the dimensions. I had some half-inch plywood on the offcut pile that I will be using for the shell. I measure out my cut lines and use the circular saw to cut it out. And yes, I am freehanding those cuts. I do have a straight edge, but I've found I can actually get straighter cuts without the straight edge, if that makes sense. When marking out the angles for the roof, I draw two lines, find the halfway point on the top line, and then simply connect the dots. Basic geometry. For the entrance, I decided to make it a little fancy and add an archway. I mark out the curve with a Cool Whip container, drill a hole, and then finish the cut with the jigsaw. Then I give everything a quick sanding before assembly. Now for the assembly, I am just using wood glue and brad nails. There's no fancy joinery here. Once all the sides are locked into place, it will be plenty strong. I am using this piece of old trim to cover up the corners. It came from the scrap pile, so I'm not sure what type of wood this is. Possibly mahogany, but I don't know. For the siding, I ripped down an old pine 2x4 into thin strips. Then I tacked on the siding with a little bit of wood glue and pin nails. Nothing too complicated here, just time consuming. At this point, I decided to add a vent to the back side of the house. I am using a 2.5-inch diameter hole saw. We'll come back to this in a little bit. After I've added the siding for the remaining walls, I come back with a handsaw and trim up the siding on the top edges. I had some old stain that I wanted to get used up, so I decided to coat the inside of the house. And while the stain is curing, I use a flush trim bit to clean up the archway and the vent hole. Then I seal off the inside with a coat of polyurethane. Now I'm going to make the vent window thingy that goes in the back of the house. I get started by laminating a couple of walnut offcuts that I found in the scrap bin. Once that is cured, I mark out some circles and cut out the rough shape on the bandsaw. Then a quick pass on the sander to clean up the edges. Next, I cut a rabbet to make a lip for the window to sit in the hole. I then cut another rabbet to accommodate the cross members. Then I cut out and glue in the cross members and sand them flush. For the roof, I had an offcut that was just about the perfect fit for one of the sides. However, I did need to cut one more panel for the other side. Then I staple on some tar paper, and I am using some old asphalt shingles for the top. And here I'm adding some walnut trim pieces just to cover up the rough edges on the entryway. For the archway trim, I tried soaking the walnut strip in hot water hoping it would turn into a wet noodle, but this did not work. I ended up putting it in a clamp for a few hours, and then just using brute force to get it into place. This did leave a little gap at the top, so I decided to make a little placard so that Mr. Tuxedo would know that this is his house. Again, using a walnut offcut, I traced the curve, cut it out on the bandsaw, and cleaned up the edges on the sander. Then I gave those edges a round over just for aesthetics. Now, obviously I wouldn't be able to fit Mr. Tuxedo's full name on the placard, so I had to abbreviate it. Before I apply the sealer, I glue the window into place. To protect the house from the elements, I am using Thompson sealer. It's just a regular deck sealer, so it will need to be reapplied periodically. Off camera, I made a base for the house to sit on, and here I am just giving it a quick coat of paint. And of course, I have to add my maker's mark. And that will about do it for Mr. Tuxedo's house. He was a little hesitant at first, but after some cheese-based incentive, he seems to be pretty happy with his new accommodations. As a side note, this was my first video with narration. If you've enjoyed it, leave a comment and I will consider narrating future videos. If you did not enjoy the narration, leave a comment and I will consider going back to the no talking videos. Anyway, thanks again for watching and have a good one.